Now it's stripping time.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
This is Hard Parking, sponsored by Right Honda and Right Toyota out of Scottsdale, Arizona. Hopefully everyone had a good Memorial Day. Those of you in the states that celebrate Memorial Day, as a reminder, because you see it all over social media, it's not Veterans Day, it's not President's Day, it's the day that we remember those who paid the ultimate sacrifice in their armed services, or those military veterans who served and then passed at some point, like my father, who died in October of 2020. I didn't blame 2020. It's just, it was his time, had a good life. But yeah, what did everybody do? That's what I want to know. What do people do? It's like cookout. It's always a good excuse for a cookout. We actually didn't. I made ribs, but we went over to my brother-in-law's house and hung out for a little bit. Did a pool party. But I got some thoughts, some things really quick. Also coming up on today's show. Oh yeah, I'm your host, Jhae Finning. Coming up on today's show, Bobchat joins us to talk about movies. It's been a while since we've had him on, probably 4 or 5 months. It's something we want to do more often. If you haven't listened to the previous episode with Brandon of Tux and Speed, that's a very popular episode. A lot of people are listening to it. So you might want to check that out. Also, thank you if this is your first or second or first few times listening to the podcast. You probably came from his episode because it was so fantastic. Before we get to this word from 4 Wheel Online, I want to talk about Uber drivers. We've all had them. Some of you are Uber drivers, Lyft drivers. I kind of consider you the same. In fact, most of the Uber cars have a Lyft sticker on the windshield. But I find this thing, and my wife and I were in Uber a few weeks ago. Nice guy. He starts talking about how, the extra money and how good it is. And if some of you are Uber drivers, just understand you don't have to explain to your passenger that this is just what you do to make money on the side. It's not your real job. You're retired and you have nothing else better to do. And that's why you're driving. I'm not judging you. And if someone wants to judge you who gets in your vehicle, you're still getting paid. And unfortunately, that's what you sign up for. I don't judge a taxi driver. Well, actually, the cab usually stinks, so then I do kind of judge them, but I don't judge my Uber drivers. It seems like they always feel like they have to justify why they're doing Uber. And you don't have to. One of the things that has driven me crazy, whether it's the holiday weekend or just honestly any day I'm out there driving, people, and I've noticed this more so lately, people who drive at or just below the speed limit. Like that just gets under my skin. When the speed limit's 45 and everyone's driving 40 or 45 and there's no traffic and there's plenty of space and there's no police around, it's like, what are we doing? Can you pick a lane and get the hell out of my way, please? And you can't tell me that doesn't irk the shit out of you too. Like, I just don't understand. Really, when you're on the highway, right? So the speed limit's 65 for a lot of us. And we know that really means 85, 90. Sometimes 95. Like when I'm driving the NSX, I drive around pretty fast. Like I don't cut people off and shit like that, but I'll go around you. Oh, for sure. And if I see an open lane on the highway, I'm getting over to that lane and I am gunning it. And by gunning it, I don't mean 120, 130. But, if most people are going 85, I'm probably going 95. And then, it's just get out of the way. Jhae Finning here, and I want to tell you guys about 4 Wheel Online. For over a decade, 4 Wheel Online has been bringing the best truck accessories and truck parts to enhance the appearance and performance of all trucks and SUVs. They are dedicated to providing an extensive range of upgrades that will match any maker model on the road. The truck products cover everything you need to give your truck a custom look and added functionality. And if you need a tire and wheel package, head over and use the configuration tool. They carry all the major brands of wheels and tires, so go get outfitted today. So visit them online at 4Wheel Online or call them at 813-769-2451. Again, that's 4Wheel Online, the number 4 Wheel Online. He is Bob Marshall of the Bobchat Podcast. Last time he was on, we talked about movies. We're going to talk about movies again. Bob, what do you have for us?
What is going on? It is the Bobchat Podcast, Classic Movie Corner. I have a pretty awesome piece of Canadiana for you today. I know I've coined that term on the show before. So I want to give you a little bit of a backstory to the movie.
All right.
Have you ever heard of a television program called SCTV? Second City Television?
You know what's weird? In a deja vu life, I want to say yes. I feel like I've heard this before, but I think I have heard of it through somebody famous or something recently. I don't know, but tell me about it because most people probably don't know.
So it was a Canadian television sketch comedy show, ran between 1976 and 1984. It did have some pretty notable cast members, I think that you and the listeners will know, including John Candy, Eugene Levy, Harold Ramis, R.I.P. Yeah, so the list goes on. But there were two standouts for their truly Canadian content, and those were Rick Moranis, who I'm sure you've heard of, and Dave Thomas, not the Wendy's guy.
So Rick Moranis was Darth Helmet on Spaceballs, and obviously the guy on Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah,
and was he the gatekeeper or the keymaster?
The Keymaster. No, he was the one asking. He was the one. Are you the Keymaster?
That's right.
Or maybe Sigourney Weaver was, but I'll have to go back and watch Ghostbusters. So basically, SCTV went on to be aired in America, but then when it was syndicated, it was 2 minutes longer in Canada than it was in America because there was less commercials, right? There's way less products up here, obviously. So because it was running on the public network, they wanted something called Canadian content because the government basically in our country legislated that a certain percentage of programming in Canada be indigenously Canadian, right? So it affected radio and ultimately the television. So when they were looking at the show, they said, we need something more Canadian. So Rick Moranis and Dave Thomas said, well, if you want an extra 2 minutes to be Canadian, how about we sit down, drink beer, fry back bacon, wear toques, and basically it spawned a sketch called The Great White North, which then featured two fictional brothers, Bob and Doug McKenzie, which brings us ultimately to our movie pick, and again, a priceless piece of Canadiana. So this movie is from the magical year of 1983, Jay, a movie titled Strange Brew. So, in their quest for free beer, Canadian brothers Bob and Doug McKenzie wind up working at the Elsinore Brewery, where they uncover a sinister mind control plot spearheaded by Brewmeister Smith. So now, what's important to Bob and Doug, you might ask? Hockey, donuts, beer, and now stopping the evil Brewmeister Smith from taking over the world. Da, da, da. So
how does this
coming
work?
in at a...
Like, what is it? What is it about the beer? Like, without giving too much away. Oh, okay. I apologize.
I'm going to get there. So it's coming in with an IMDb rating of 6.6 out of 10. It's a beauty, eh? So basically, the plot that they discover is that the evil brewmeister is adding mind-controlled drugs to the beer, which, while rendering the consumer docile, makes them more vulnerable to mind control when certain tones are played. And so our ski-capped hoser heroes take on Brewmeister Smith to save the one thing that they can't live without: beer. So it also has a 76% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Not bad.
In my opinion, truly a classic. So if you're looking for a funny, old school, kind of Canadian-esque movie, I think personally, Jay, you would really enjoy it.
Sounds fun.
I think a lot of people would. Yeah, a lot of people haven't heard about it, even in this country, right? Like this is sort of like a different generation, right? But growing up, they put out a couple of LPs as well too, like the 12 Days of Beer Miss, and so my dad showed me this when I was a kid, right? So it's kind of been a staple for me for a long time. And they're just hilarious. If you have a chance, even if you don't watch a movie, just look up the trailer or look up the Great White North comedy sketch. They're hilarious.
So Strange Brew looks like it's available on YouTube for free, Apple TV, Vudu, not for free, Amazon Prime, Redbox. You guys have Redbox there?
Is that where you order a DVD and then you go pick it up out of a machine?
It's even worse. You just walk up and you pick the movie you want, and if it's in stock, you select it, pay for it, and then return it later.
Yeah, it's not 2008. We don't have that anymore.
We used to have it, as far as I know. I think I heard that we're shipping those to Canada.
No, we do get things a little later than you guys. We just got Miami Vice on TV, #1 new show.
Shut up. There's a Redbox right down the street from my house, actually, at the Circle K. I'm like, whoa, this thing is still around.
Yeah, that's crazy. Oh, you don't? You still have 7-Elevens though, eh?
We have them. Yeah, there's actually a 7-Eleven around here too. I never go to it. I don't know why.
we just started getting Circle K's like probably like a year and a half ago because it used to be Mac's variety store, and all I can do is think about Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Something is afoot at the Circle K.
Did you see the last one they did? That came out 3 or 4 years ago.
Yes, I did see it. It was it was all right. It was
all right.
Decent. I mean, good to see Alex Winters doing something. I haven't seen him in forever.
Right.
But my boy Keanu rocks it. That'll represent Canada.
Yeah, that was interesting. So again, Strange Brew, 1983, comedy, satirical. So guys, it's a fun comedy. Hour and a half long.
Yeah, it's great. And if anyone's wondering, I do watch new movies, but this is Bobchat's classic movie corner, right? So I'm trying to bring us some hidden gems of the past here, expand your cinema paradigms, if you will.
Yeah, and as always, if you guys listen to the Bobchat podcast, they do talk movies. There's a lot of times I've listened to it, I'm like, oh, I've seen that, or I haven't seen that, and I want to be in that conversation. But when we get together, all we ever talk about is things that I know nothing about, like weed and beer and shit like that. But movies is good.
Well, why don't maybe we'll have to have you back on Bobchat soon, then, and we'll do a movie episode. We'll talk movies. I'm
down. Thanks, Bob.
Yep. Speaking of which, actually, quick, have you seen any new movies lately?
Oh, I saw Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I saw Fast and Furious 10, Fast X, Fast 10 your seatbelts. That's what I always say.
Ticket, all right?
That's what they should have called it. They should have called it Fast 10 your seatbelts. Yeah, those are the two that I've seen. I know the Little Mermaid movie's out, and I've had cousins and stuff see that, and they love it. I would imagine it's doing great. No desire to see it.
Any live action?
I've never seen the original one in its entirety. It just wasn't for me. And when it came out, I was probably teenager or getting out of high school or something. So it's a movie that, Little Mermaid is a movie like a lot of Disney movies back then. They're targeted toward little girls.
Yeah. Yeah. We all just want to be a princess, don't we, Jay?
Yeah. And I had no family. It was just myself, my brother, and our parents. So we didn't have nieces and nephews around, you know what I mean? Or younger cousins around. So we just, when they were around, it was like a family reunion or something. No one's sitting around watching TV at a family reunion. Everyone's out doing stuff. So it just was off my radar.
Yeah,
I did see The Little Mermaid.
A sister and a stepsister.
I saw the play. We saw the play years ago at Disney World, and it was excellent. It was excellent.
Okay.
So yeah, hopefully this one, I'm sure it did great at the box office and will continue to do so. I don't know how good the live action Disney movies do. I'm sure they're fine. But it's kind of weird when you take something that's like such a classic and basically just make it look more real, but it's still the same movie. So I don't know how that really appeals to them.
As long as there's a crab with a French accent, I'm in.
I've heard the crab is different, and it's, I don't know. That's one part where I've heard some disappointment, but I think the movie's probably
I just saw the new Evil Dead Rising, actually, in theaters. We went and saw that a couple of weeks ago. It was pretty good. It was... it wasn't my choice to go see that, but I wasn't disappointed though. They definitely did the old cameo at the end. She's got like a chainsaw, so they gave the shout out to the original, which was pretty cool. But actually, and really quickly, if you have time, I just watched this. I know you love movies. I know you're kind of like a history guy as well too. I just watched this new movie on Netflix called Blood and Gold.
Okay.
So it's basically about like this like SS like group of soldiers, and it's like the very last days of the war in Germany, and they're like on the hunt for like this like Jewish gold that was hidden. And like
cool.
one of the guys like deserts the platoon because he wants to get to his daughter, and they're like trying to track him down. And it's like, as far as like action goes, like it's made in German, but it's got like the English like speaking, right? So there's no subtitles or anything, but the fucking action is like crazy, man. Like it's like John Wick style, like fighting and shit. It's cool.
A lot of those foreign action movies, foreign conflict, foreign whatever movies are actually pretty good. I'm looking at it right now. I didn't rate that high on Rotten Tomatoes. It showed me the critic score. I didn't click on the actual link because that's maybe something we could talk about next time. But yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah, Blood and Gold. I don't think you'll be disappointed. It's pretty badass. At one point, he like stabs a guy with a pitchfork. That's all I'm going to say. It's pretty cool.
Oh, I'm in.
Yeah. All right, man. Thanks. Right. I appreciate you having me on, and
we'll do it again.
We'll talk to you later, guys. Yeah. Bye.
want to thank Bob Marshall for joining the show. We're going to do that more often. It's a lot of fun. And I mean, I'm a movie guy, but I waited so long to record this. It's Monday night because I wanted to wait until the Miami Heat got done playing the Boston Celtics Game 7. Miami Heat went up on them 3-0. No team's ever come back in the history of the NBA 0-3. And the Celtics almost did it. It was very frustrating to watch. Outside of the Chicago Bulls in the 90s, the Miami Heat are the only other NBA team that I've ever really been a fan of. And I'll admit I haven't really paid much attention to the NBA this year or even last year. I watched the Heat go to the finals in the bubble and lose to LeBron and the Lakers. But it's just they played 2 games to get in. So they got lucky. They had playing games. That wasn't a thing 10 years ago. They had to play 2 games to get into the playoffs because they were that bad. They're the 8th seed. No one expected them to do anything. They beat the number 1 seed in the East. Eventually, just now, the number 2 seed in the East. So they're going to play the Denver Nuggets. Those of you who are into sports already know this. Those of you who are not, don't and won't care. I've lost a lot of money on them. I'm talking hundreds, not thousands of dollars in the NBA playoffs. When the Lakers went down 0-2, I said, there's no way they're going to lose a 3rd game. And I'm not a LeBron guy. You guys know that. I'm pro Jordan. But I respect it. But go down 0-3. I was like, oh, okay. There's no way they're going to get swept. Let me get 100 on the Lakers to win a game. They get swept. Okay, Miami Heat are up 3-0. Are they going to win Game 4? No, I already knew that. I didn't put any money on it. Game 5? I don't know. Game 6? I have a good feeling. Let me put money on Jimmy Butler. Let me put money on the Heat. Jimmy Butler wets the bed. The Heat give up a last-second shot, like a 1/10 of a second. Tonight they won. I put $20 on them. 130. I won $30, not $130, but I'm down in the NBA playoffs, a couple $100. So we'll see what happens with the playoffs. I do have some more big episodes coming up. Just talked to Noah Nelson. He hasn't been on the show in a few years. He's joined Wes and I on One Drink Wednesday, writer, producer, Secrets of Lies, The Oath, a couple episodes of Hawaii Five-0. He is Craig T. Nelson's son, so you guys may know him from the show Coach, or he plays Mr. Incredible, like the voice of Mr. Incredible. But he did a trip to Burma, and we watched on social media, and he was getting shot at. And I was freaking out, and I'm like, oh my God, can you please come home? So that's coming up soon. A couple other really good conversations coming up soon. I will say that I'm a little disappointed with you guys because I had asked an episode or 2 ago to help me describe this podcast. Because when you take an episode like Brandon, this last one, Tuxton Speed, or this episode, or sometimes when I have a full-length conversation about cars, they're all so different, but I struggle defining what this is. So I need your help. I want to thank Right Honda and Right Toyota, 4Wheel Online, Sell Shop Wireless Services, Patreon business supporters, Kuya Automotive out of Oregon, Florida, Pell Construction out of Caledonia, Michigan, Big House Small Home Design out of Ashburn, Virginia, and Traverse City, Michigan. Westgate Exotic Cars and Rentals, and Shipping Success with West Tankers. They catch us on One Drink Wednesday. If you're in a position to help the podcast upgrade, join the Patreon for as little as $3 a month and get access to bonus audio as well as show swag. I'm thinking about doing a trial. They have a thing where I can kick out like a 7-day trial period for Patreon. Let me know if you guys are interested. Shoot me a message, social media, whatnot. You know how to get a hold of me at JFinney on Instagram. Mark Stolman, Catherine Cox, Eddie Ramos, Richard Graves, Byron Jones, Bo, John Alscamina, Drew Bunkley, and David Garner. Thank you for your support. If you guys want a podcast t-shirt, Hard Parking Podcast t-shirt, that is, go to hardparkingpod.com. Join the Hard Parking Violations Facebook group. That's also the name of the Patreon. Because I can't grow that. Tell the world how great this show is. Let's do this. Let's grow this thing together, and I'll talk to you all next week.
Shut up!